Nice to see you all here. And I want to start with a really short story. So a few months back, Gil, the CEO of ProductX.biz, that's not actually Gil, that's the AI creation of Gil. You can say it by the weird sideburns that it gave him. But other than that, it got pretty close. So he had a marketing meeting with representatives of an American company. There was a whole team there, and one of the participants was the CTO, a really smart, sharp guy. And they were talking about design sprints. So Gil, with confidence based on experience, told him, we can solve any major product challenge that you have with the design sprint in just 5 days. And you'll get better alignment, you'll increase creativity, you'll have more focus. In just 5 days, feeling really good about himself, he looks at the CTO looks at him and tells him 5 days. Wow, that's a lot. And it was like funny and shocking together because it is 5 days. But when you think about it, in the pace of change and development that we have today, when the method was invented 10 years ago, fast, but it's not considered that fast anymore. And more than that, not really about the time aspect, but we expect to get more out of the same time that we work. We want more focus, we want more outcomes, better outcomes. So that's what we did. We took the design sprint and turned it from I would say the traditional method into kind of a product sprint. Some of it with AI, some of it regardless to AI. And today we'll review some of those changes. I'll just present myself, sorry. I'm the VP of UX and UI at ProductX.biz. I used to be a product manager for a health firm. We always used to say it's the biggest firm that nobody knows. So that was it. And now I'm at ProductX.biz. All right. So let's break for a minute and talk about what is the design sprint. I don't know if you guys got the chance to do design sprint, hear about design sprints. Great, okay. So for everyone, and those who know and those who doesn't, the design sprint is a 5 days process for rapidly solving big challenges, creating new products, or improving existing ones. It was initially developed at Google Ventures by Jack Knapp to version 1.0, and then it was refined to version 2.0 at AJ&E Smart Agency. If we break down the method to the components, then the first day is always dedicated to the learning and discovery. We call it the mapping, where we map the workflow, we map the users, we understand opportunities and pain points, and we find areas, we decide on areas to focus on. And then we take everything that we've learned, and on the second day, we start to create solutions. When I say we mean that this is a part of the workshop, and different stakeholders sit in the same room around the table, and each person provides their solution. On the third day, we take this solution, we present them, we discuss them, and we vote on them, and we select one winning solution that we think is best for what we're trying to achieve, and to be what we'll go with. On the fourth day, we take this sketch of a solution, and we build a high-fidelity prototype, so we can go and test it and get an honest user feedback. And on the fifth day, we actually do the testing, user interviews, usability tests, and this way we either approve or disprove our assumptions and understand if we're on the right direction or do we need to pivot. If I focus on the first 2 days of the workshop, which is the workshop part, you can see that the design sprint is in fact product management on steroids, okay? We do user interviews and prioritize backlog. We're talking about goals and where we want to go to. We do mapping, solution sketching, and so forth. So it's a very concise method, but at the end, these are all product management practices that you probably use in your everyday work, regardless to design sprint or not. Okay, so what you see here is a revised version of the design sprint. We've ran throughout the years dozens of workshops in fintech, cyber, health tech, anything that is a complex system, basically. And the more we ran these workshops, the more we identified areas where we thought that the focus can be better, or we can extract better results, and we adjusted the method accordingly. Today, what I want to do is review 3 of these practices with you: the user interviews and how might we's, the KPIs and key success factors, which were not a part of the original method, and we've added it, and part of the solution sketching. The reason that I chose these 3 practices is that I think they have tremendous impact on your product and strategy and your product management work. And they're also serious time consumers. And we saw that the focus that we gave here with the development and the incorporation of AI work really boosted these up. All right, so step 1, focusing on the challenge. So we've finished the first day of the learning with the customer, which is another step that we've added, but we're not focusing on that today. And we're at the actual workshop. Everyone is in the same room around the table. And we're at the first practical session of the workshop, the user interviews and the how might we's. Basically, we interview users, and while we ask questions and they answer, everyone identifies opportunities and writes them on sticky notes. Each opportunity on a sticky note. Opportunity, pain point, depends on how you view it. At the end of this exercise, we have a wall full of sticky notes, okay? Something like this, or even more. It's very energetic and high-paced phase, and a lot of wonderful ideas are coming out of it, but it's also tricky. One, because it's very time-consuming. You have a board full of notes, and you have to make sense of it. You have to read, and you have to merge, and you have to rephrase. So that's one. And the other thing is just the difficulty of getting the meaning out of all these things. Same as if you do your everyday discovery work, not even in the design sprint. You interviewed users. We can take, for example, a ticket management system like Jira or Trello. So I interviewed 6 or 7 users, and now I have the transcripts or like a written summary that I wrote while they spoke. And now I have to take all this information and get a meaning out of it. So yeah, this is what the sticky notes. Okay. So what we did here, before we even talk about AI, but we'll get to the AI as well, is that we added an intermediate step in order to add some structure. Okay? We first said, okay, before diving into specific details, let's create categories. The categories can be based on joint opportunities or challenges that you identify. And now what we have, for example, in my ticket management system, I have learning and adoption, collaboration and communication, reporting and analytics, and so forth. It can be different as well. This is what I chose for my system, for my example. Once I have these, I have basically main pillars of focus, okay? And before I dive into the details, I vote on these main pillars. So we put them on the board, and we sort all the sticky notes based on these categories. But before we dive into the categories, we do a first round of voting, which is not a part of the original method, on categories only. And the game changer here is that it really focused the entire discussion. Because what usually happens is at this point, people have to vote on the notes. And a lot of times they vote on a lot of small things that might be completely disconnected. Some of them are oriented to our business goals, some are not. Some even might repeat themselves, and so forth. And now that we have the main pillars of focus, we do the second round of voting, but only on the categories that we've selected. And this way, we assure that we only vote on things that are relevant to what we want to focus on and what is relevant to our strategy. And this had value on its own, but then AI came along. These are examples. You can use any tool that you want. We use Claude, for example. And a lot of what I just described is now done using the AI prompt. We take all the sticky notes, we run them through the prompt, and what the prompt does is does 3 things. First of all, it phrases all the sticky notes as opportunities. Same as if you give it the transcripts of your interviews. It knows how to extract all the opportunities from the information. The second thing that it does is that it merges all the duplicates, which is just saving a lot of time and effort. It also indicates which items were merged, so you can QA it after because you have to check the AI afterwards. And the third thing, which I think is the most meaningful, is that it creates the categories and sorts the entire list of opportunities based on these categories. And really within a few minutes, you have something that looks like a product backlog, or at least a lot closer to a product backlog. Same as if you do it, okay. Same as if you do it with the transcripts. You go from something like this, and you get something like this. This is the example for the ticket management system with the categories that I created. I will say, as a disclaimer, that AI is, well, not perfect or still not perfect. And it doesn't always handle very well the categories issue. In most cases it does, but if you work on a project that is of a very niche domain, not something that is very publicly known, and it has a very specific jargon, it doesn't always know how to handle it very well. But what we do is either we give it information to help it, or we actually give it the categories, because usually the product manager knows the categories better, and it does all the, I would say, rest of the dirty work for us. So this phase really worked well because it gave us increased clarity and better focus and more alignment. Everyone around the table knows what are the focus areas and adhere to these pillars. It helps us make faster decisions, and with the AI we also save a lot of time and effort, and we have a smoother backlog integration. I would just say that in classic design sprint, a lot of times what happens is that you vote on 10, 12 notes from the board, opportunities, and the rest of them just stay there. And it's a really missed opportunity, because for a product manager, even if you don't focus on that now, it's a backlog of ideas and opportunities that you can use. So with the AI, the chances of it just staying on the board are a lot smaller. All right, so we've interviewed users, we understood what we want to focus on, what are the pain points and the opportunities, and now we have a backlog of ideas. The next step in understanding our needs is to say, where do we want to go? We understood what's current, but where do we want to go to? And this is where the KPIs and key success factors session comes in. The original method offers the long-term goal session, this one here. Okay, so there is a reference to it. But what usually happens is that the participants in the workshop are asked to write a paragraph. In 2 years' time, the product will be. In 3 years' time, we will be, and so forth. And once you do that, a lot of times the way that they write it is like a vision or some kind of mission statement. And each person in their own hat and direction, each stakeholder takes it somewhere else, not necessarily attached to what we want to go, not necessarily in link with the business goals that we have. And oftentimes not even it's very abstract and we're not sure what to practically do with it. So this is where we recognize that we need to add some focus, and we've added this session. And now we haven't invented the KPIs and key success factors, okay? And I assume that most of you work with them. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, KPIs, key performance indicators, are measurable values that track how well a product, a feature, or a team are doing. Okay, it can be engagement rate, retention, there are many others, these are just examples. Key success factors, which I don't want to talk ill of anyone, but I know many people work with KPIs, but not that many work with key success factors. So just to make sure that you understand what I mean, these are not necessarily measurable items. These are the necessary things that need to happen, the most important things that need to happen in order to achieve success. Okay, if I go back to the example for my ticket management system, a KPI can be my ticket backlog size. There can be others. This is just an example that I chose. The actual number of open tickets that I have on the system, I can set a certain number through a certain time frame that I want to reach this number. Key success factor is what do I have to do, or what is the most important thing that needs to happen in order for me to achieve this KPI. For example, it can be that I identify that if I make sure that this system becomes cross-organizational and the adoption is very high, then I will be able to reach this number. And now that I know what is the most important thing that needs to happen, I can a lot easier extrapolate what are the action items that I need to take, whether it's in the project or the actual product, in order to achieve that. So why is this method so helpful? So as I described, the diffusion usually happens when you write in vision statements or in mission statements, is gone. When people are asked to think in measurable items and KPIs and also do the key success factors, it really focuses them on things that are actionable, achievable, and much more related to the business. Of course, you could also measure your success afterwards, which is valuable on its own. But from the design sprint point of view and from the product strategy point of view, it really helped us to focus it. All right, third step, prototyping with AI. So we've finished the first day of the workshop, and we're on the second day of the workshop, the day where we create solutions. We started the morning with looking at references in the lightning demo session. We took personal notes. We did some creativity boost with the Crazy 8 exercise. And now we're in solution sketching, okay? In traditional workshops, solution sketching is usually done using pen and paper or whiteboards. The reason that we do it is because it's supposed to be pressure-free, it's supposed to be quick. We don't want people wasting time on UI elements and building things in Figma. The main idea, the important thing is to communicate your idea and discuss it. But what usually happens is that people are not really good at drawing screens or doesn't feel comfortable sketching screens. People that don't do that in their everyday work are not often comfortable. And in a design sprint, we have different stakeholders around the table. We have product and UX and design, but we also have development and QA and marketing and sales, and they're not always comfortable with that. And although we want our prototypes to usually look like this, they usually look like the one on the right side, which is by far not the worst one that we've got. I got a prototype which was a blank page with a line in the middle saying chart here at the top and table here at the bottom. And yeah. So the biggest issue about this is not that it's not beautiful, I really don't care, is that it doesn't reflect the team's range of thinking, okay? The person who did this was struggling to communicate what he was trying to say. And what happens as a result of that is that usually in a workshop we get one perfectly looking solution. Usually the UX or the designer did it, and this is the only one that people actually understand, and this is the solution that people vote for. Okay? So, thank God for vibe coding tools. Doesn't matter which one, these are just examples. I know there are plenty of others, but we've just replaced the pen and paper with the vibe coding tools. Now basically anyone can create an interactive prototype. I'll show you an example. On the left side is a prototype, is one solution, and on the right side is two screenshots of another. These two solutions were created by the same person in the same workshop, okay? I swear this is not a lie. Now, leave the aesthetics outside of it, okay? The person's ability, it was the CEO, by the way. The person's ability to communicate what he was trying to say, to demonstrate it because it's interactive, and also just to see what he had in his mind in front of him, and then maybe be able to do another round of revisions and deepen like the solution that he's offering. I don't think I need to convince you about that. The greatest thing that happened out of all this is that instead of getting one beautiful or very clear prototype, we started getting 10 of these for each workshop. And when we started getting 10 of these for each workshop, the whole discussion about the solution just kicked up, and the level just risen up so much. And once we had that, we were able to stop voting for one solution that is a winner, and we started voting for all the elements that we like in all the solutions and just merge them into one super concept. Okay? So what we saw that it does, it levels the playing field, of course, and it allows product managers to have product discussion with people that are not necessarily from product, which I think is great. The most important thing, I think, is that it captures the team's range of thinking more accurately. Therefore, it enriches the solutions, and therefore, you get just better, custom, more detailed and oriented to what we're trying to achieve solutions. All right. So what I would be really happy if you take from this talk today. First of all, we use Claude, but you can use anything. Perplexity, ChatGPT, whatever you prefer. To summarize, order, and categorize your learning materials. You will save so much time, so much effort. You'll have a better focus and an easier backlog integration. Second thing, define clear KPIs and key success factors as part of your product strategy. Yes, we do it in the design sprint, but you do it every day anyways. Now, I know most of you do KPIs, or at least I assume that most of you work with KPIs, but I assume that most of you are not necessarily working with key success factors, and I cannot recommend enough to do it. It focuses you so much, and it saves you a lot of time as to, okay, but where do I begin? This is where you begin. And the third one, use vibe coding tools to enhance your solutions, to create even just a better communication throughout the team. It's priceless. So I hope I was able to give you a slightly fresh look on how you can upgrade your product management practices. If you want to talk later, if you have questions, I'm here. I'd be happy to chat. And thank you very much.